Super Meat Boy, essentially a platforming enthusiast's wet dream. Released in late 2010 by Team Meat, it was very much hyped by pretty much every human being on this planet. Based on a popular Flash game starring our savior, Super Meat Boy's eventual retail release was poised to frustrate us all over again. This is a perfect example of a game that I hate and love at the same time and for the same reasons. If you are a glutton for punishment and not the Rain Man of gaming, then this game is perfect for you. The basic premise of the gameplay is to avoid traps, jump obstacles with subtle and precise moves. And there are a ton of secrets and characters to come across. This game has the controls that dreams are made of. Every jump, special ability, wall scaling, everything is so precise that you know if you screw up, it's because you suck, and not because of the program. It is pretty remarkable that you can have a team of programmers working in major companies who still screw it up. This game has perfect controls? What logic? In the words of John Tron, this game controls like butter. One thing that stood out to me when I booted up this game is the art style. Within the game, everything stands out. From the playable characters, to the enemies, and the various stages themselves, which include, but are not limited to, the fiery depths of platforming hell, flashy rainbow color stages, 8-bit renditions, and even something as basic as using two colors with a bright and vibrant background, purple for example, with everything in the foreground black as the night. My favorite stages are, as far as art is concerned, are the earlier stages where the art may not be extravagant, but the earth tones along with the deep red of Meat Boy really shine without trying too hard. Ermagerd the Merzik. The music in this game can range just as much as the difficulty curve, which I'll cover later. Music is a very integral part of the game, as it can set the mood just as much as the art and dialogue, or even anything else for that matter. The music in Super Meat Boy is exciting, with a wide range of songs and moves, which is great in a game like Super Meat Boy, where you'll be spending days surrounded by cans of cream soda and Dr. Pepper trying not to drive yourself crazy. My favorite tune was the first boss theme, which was a great mashup of hectic, fast, and downright awesome sounds, which just fits the stage perfectly as you're being chased by Dr. Fetus. Audio is a very integral part in any game. I don't know how many times I've played a game where the music or sounds were dull and it wrecked the experience. It just isn't the case with Super Meat Boy. Even the level sound effects are amazing. Saws spinning, missiles launching, the swishy, sliding noise Meat Boy makes. Each sound is fairly distinct, giving a nice touch to the game. So, on to the elephant in the room. The part of the review we can all relate to. Hobbled in fear in the corner. The difficulty curve. In all honesty, the difficulty is fair for a few stages in the beginning and even shows you what to do and what not to do. However, the challenge has a curve bigger than Mount McKinley. What I mean by that is sure, for a little while, you're probably going to feel pretty good about yourself, until you run into the first obstacle and throw your controller across the room 9,001 times. If you aren't throwing your controller, you're smashing your keyboard. And if you're using a keyboard with its controls, then God help your blessed soul for trying. This is probably my favorite part of the game and reminds me of the old NES difficulty days, except accelerated to the max. Personally, after a certain point, the game is so hard that I cannot get mad anymore. I just laugh in hysterics at how brutal it can be. What did I ever do to you, Team Meat? With a game being so difficult, it actually helps in keeping people's interest, because they feel so compelled to complete a stage they already invested so much time in. Upon completion not only of stages themselves, but even just a single obstacle can be a very rewarding feeling. I personally believe that this should be used as a training game to toughen up people not only for other platformers, but other games in general. At least for me, it has built up my tolerance, my skill, my overall thought process as to how I approach each and every point of a game. For some final words on Super Meat Boy, it provides so much charm and personality through original content and ideas, while giving a head nod to older games such as Castlevania. The game is so well crafted, giving a big bang for your buck with hidden collectibles, characters, and if that isn't enough and you fancy yourself a badass, you can play the game all over again in the Dark World, which lets you replay each stage, for the most part, including bosses, on a revamped difficulty curve. So, you thought the first difficulty was hard? Well, Dark World Super Meat Boy is to regular difficulty Super Meat Boy is what regular difficulty Super Meat Boy is to all other games in its genre. Good luck.